Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin, LaVore, and
Michelle LaVore
coming at you. And we just want to say a huge thank you to all of those who have been financially supporting us in this ministry. And if you want to support us, please do. There's a link below. Click it. Give us all you have. No, I'm just kidding. Give us your wife, your kids. No, I'm just kidding. But also, huge welcome to all you guys who are new subscribers.
Yes.
This is it right here. We just be joking around and kidding, but we just share the heart of God as well. This is what we try to do here. And most of it's encouraging, some of it's challenging, whatever, but so what we wanted to share today was a prophetic word for the year 2019.
Yeah.
Something that we feel like God has given to us. It's not the prophetic word for 2019. It's just one.
It's one of the many in the soup that God has for
We
2019.
work in the prophetic department. We work in a cubicle. There's many cubicles in that department that are releasing prophetic words. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of stuff out there in prophetic world land that just is not from God. It's people trying to be prophetic something and find significance in the prophetic and all that, and it's just like, ugh, that doesn't even sound like the Lord. What is it? You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to discern for yourself, but we definitely feel like this is a prophetic word for what's going to be happening in 2019, and it is really great, actually. It's prophesying the end of 2018 as well.
Yeah.
Just my own personal opinion, how I do. For those who are new to this channel, maybe I just share what I feel like God said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's up to you guys to take it to the Lord and pray about it and see how it will apply to you. But this is what I feel like the Lord's going to be doing. So I'm going to go to Hezekiah. Yeah, let's go to 2nd Hezekiah's chapter 8. And it's 2 Kings chapter 19, starting in verse 29. I'm going to be reading from the Amplified Bible. So it says, "And Hezekiah, says the Lord, this shall be the sign of these things to you." So there were certain things that were prophesied before about the deliverance of the kingdom. And he's like, look, this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen. And he's like, this is a 3-year prophecy he's getting ready to declare. He says, "You shall eat this year what grows of itself. Also in the 2nd year what springs up voluntarily. But in the 3rd year sow and reap, plant vineyards and eat their fruit. And the remnant that has survived of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. Mm-hmm. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant and a band of survivors out of Mount Zion. The zeal of the Lord of hosts shall perform this." Yes. Now, let's take it from the top. For us personally, 2017 was the "you shall eat this year what grows of itself."
Yeah.
That was just us getting provision from anywhere we could get provision from.
Yeah.
Because God started this, unconventional journey. She's not working, I'm not working. We started this at the end, literally at the end of, it's so funny, December 23rd of 2016.
Yep.
We were on another journey.
Yeah.
So again, before we entered into the cave that God was prophesying about, that was going to be a representation of our entire 2017, there was something very significant that happened at the end. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The provision and the being carried and all that really did happen at the end. But then once we got back, 2017, we were just kind of getting provision from wherever we could get it from.
Yeah.
We did not have PayPal at that time.
No.
We didn't. We had other things and other resources and all that stuff. And at the right time in 2017, God said, okay, you need to start this.
Yeah, start building that ark.
Yeah, that was really the ark that she's talking about. And so that was our first year. That you shall eat this year what grows of itself. Also, in the 2nd year, what springs up voluntarily. Now, that speaks of 2018 and going into 2018. Because at the end of 2017, we received the finances that we need to come here to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was a year end like, wow, this is literally happening. Yeah. Wow, amazing. And so, but it says also in the 2nd year, what springs up voluntarily. That means this entire time in Nashville, 2018, people have just been giving to us. It's been springing up voluntarily from the heart of people. And we're blown away beyond anything we can possibly communicate.
Yeah.
At like the level of like dude,
just
we don't even know you people.
Yeah.
Just say we've never seen your face. We've never shook your hand. We've never given you a hug to say God bless you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Yeah.
You know, we've never done any of that. But people believe in what God is doing through us, and they continue to give. That's the springing up voluntarily.
Yeah.
Right? But it says, but in the third year, which is what 2019 is. We're getting into the prophetic word for 2019. But in the third year, sow and reap, plant vineyards, and eat their fruit. So that's exactly what the nation of Israel did when they crossed over the Jordan.
Yeah.
Eventually, they began. The bottom line is they crossed over, and that was them being planted.
Yeah.
They were being planted in their land. So I just feel like at the end of this year, today's December 11th, but by the end of this year, we're going to be planted. And I feel like the Lord's saying that you got to, if you listen to our previous word that we just released, it talks about speaking to the door. You got to speak to that door. You got to speak to that blessing. You got to speak to whatever God's telling you to believe for. Speak it out so that it can spring up, on purpose, Yeah. And so it's like if you're gonna sow and reap and you're gonna plant vineyards and you're gonna eat their fruit, you can't be wandering the wilderness.
Have to be established.
You can't be in an ark. Mm-mm. That means that God is saying, this is what I'm going to do in 2019. That means you're going to be planted somewhere.
Yeah.
That means you're going to be established in a place to be able to do that. Otherwise, you couldn't even do it. Why would God ask you to do something you can't do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we just feel like that's what's going to be happening in 2019. There is going to be a release from the Spirit of God to go into the vision, into what He's saying. I'm just going to throw this out there. I know that 2018 was a family year. I believe 2019 is going to be a family year as well. But I just feel like it's going to be another level.
Yeah.
It's like maybe you've had like high school level family. Now we're going into collegiate level family, where it's going to be even deeper. The Lord has shared that with our family. He said, you guys have gone through a hardship as a family. Now you're getting ready to go through a joyous year as a family. Mm-hmm. Because it has been hard, a stripping away and a Jeremiah 1:10 of tearing things down and destroying and upheaving and all that. But then at the end of that, He says, but you also have the authority to now build and plant. I feel like that's what we're going into with 2019, because the Lord gave me some specific words before we even moved to Nashville about building and planting certain things.
Yes.
Right? And He said, as soon as you cross over, which we haven't done quite yet, we're still in that transition period, we're in that arc. As soon as we come out and we encounter the glory that's on the other side of that arc door, He's like, I want you to start building right away. Yeah. And I was like, you want right away? Really? Yes. And if God says it, there must be a reason, and it's a good reason. So it's like there again, God is just speaking about building and planting, because He's spent all year tearing down and destroying mindsets.
And that separation, it really is the picture of the ark. Noah and his family were in the ark. They were safe there. And it was that family time.
Sure.
He was with his family. But what was God doing during that whole time? He was bringing separation. Mm-hmm. Separation from the old, so that He can then release him into the new. And
how many times has God been prophesying that to us? I mean, He's been saying that to us about.
Yeah. And I just feel like we've literally kind of just lived through a year where that picture of the ark is exactly what God has done.
Yeah.
And separating us out, living this life that we live is very different than your normal everyday life. Yeah. I mean, and so it's just like, but because of that, because of what God has done, He's brought this separation that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And so that when we walk into the new, it's going to be completely...
We won't be leaning on the old to support the new.
Yeah.
Because God's like, and that's just, we've already gone through some certain things this year that have proven that.
Yeah.
That some people, they want to lean on the old to do something new. And it's like, God's like, you can't do that. You cannot build what I'm trying to build if you're going to lean on the old. And that's why Paul Keith Davis came out with that one video about living in the age to come. Yeah. He said, even I have a difficulty with that. Yeah. I have a difficulty leaning on the old to create a structure for the new that God's doing. And he's like, in all my studies and the history, he's like, that was one of the flaws of the revivals. When they came, the leaders of those revivals would look to the past to build a structure for the new thing God's doing, and then eventually it would fizzle. Yeah. And God's saying, don't do that this time. No,
he's like, he's just like, build with me. Again, that picture of just being on the edge of the wave. Well, in order to stay on the edge of the wave, you have to keep looking forward. You have to keep going forward. And I feel like there's just honestly, there's so much for what we're going into that God is speaking. But I think that the bulk of it really is that being planted, being deeply rooted in Him, that sowing and that reaping, where it's like now things are going to start to take root. Mm-hmm. You're going to start to, for us personally, go back to kind of, it's a new normal, but to go back to, okay, this is life. I'm releasing you back into life, like Noah and his family. He released them and gave them the mandate that was already there that He gave Adam and Eve, which was be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, and He said, hey, I'm giving you, the animals, I'm giving you the plants and all of that. And then what did they start doing after that? Then they started planting. They started living life outside of the ark.
And I thought it was something really interesting you brought up about, like, He called all the families. Yeah. Even the animals were families. And I was just like, look at God, man. He is a family guy. He is. And it's like, I'm reminded, can I keep going? Yes. I was reminded of this. I felt like the Lord said, remember, you're in my hands. Yes. Like, I scooped you out. He fulfilled this prophecy. He gave me a word, said He was going to take both hands and scoop me out. And He said the both hands is that 55. That's what 55 means for us a lot of times. That 55 is like tender mercy. Yes. The one hand is like, boom, the power of God. You know what I mean? Like superhero. You know what I mean? But the two hands, that's like tender mercy, like you would hold a baby. Yeah. And God's like, I am holding you guys in my tender mercy right now. And during this time where I have you in my hands and I'm transitioning you from Kansas City to establishing you in Nashville, you're just going to grow deep. Your roots are still growing in my hand. Yes. And He's like, what is that? You're growing deep in intimacy with me. You're growing deep in the power. And what else was it? The mercy, I believe it was. Yeah. Yes, the tender mercy. I just said it. And it was those things. And so now we've gone through this, hardship. I mean, these last 2 years, 2017 and 2018, have been hard. They've been amazing, but they've been really difficult. And God's like, now I'm going to plant you in my garden. That's why we're talking about we're going from the cave to the ark to the garden. He's like, now I'm going to plant you in my garden in this state of deep, deep intimacy with me. And it's just, you're going to continue to grow. Like it says here. It says you're going to take root downward and bear fruit upward. So you have to be planted. Mm-hmm. God's like, you got to be planted in where I have you and what I'm doing and the new thing I'm going to be doing in you so that you can sow and reap and plant me, because there's so much life inside of all of us, that we just can't do right now. Yeah. But God's like, that's what the planting is going to do. Yeah. It's going to release you to do that. It's going to release you to do the vision that you have, that I have for you and your family, that's going to impact Nashville, that's going to impact the world. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And something like just talking about being carried by the Lord and being rooted in Him was just, when I had this picture of us when we are planted because we are rooted in God. A lot of times when you actually plant a tree or something, it's like it does grow out, but it's growing out so that it can get the nutrients from what's already existing there. Yeah. And I just really felt like the picture of God is like, when you guys are planted, instead of being planted and trying to get something, you're actually going to spread and give that which you've received from me. And so it was just this, like, image of a tree being planted and like the roots are going out, but the roots themselves are actually bringing the glory of God as it spreads out.
Yeah, is that vision you had about the golden light around the tree and it's like going actually into the soil? Oh,
yeah.
Man, that was really awesome. Too bad we're not going to talk about that right now. Yeah, so, and it says here in verse 30, and the remnant that has survived of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. That, I think what that means is those who have made it through the discipline and the training of the Lord and are actually still there. They actually have gone through it. Yeah. They didn't stop. They didn't quit. They didn't give up. The survivors, those who made it through. And now the word fourth has been like a thing for me lately. God has really been highlighting that to me. Does it blow anyone else's mind out there to just say, God's speaking to me? Yeah. God, we're having a relationship with God. Yeah. It blows my mind all the time. But anyway, just a little side note, that was a freebie. The rest of this cost you. No, I'm just kidding. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant and a band of survivors out of Mount Zion. Now, Mount Zion, what is that? That's where people have been meeting with God. Yeah. He is their only source. He is it. It doesn't matter. This is not a life that we would have chosen. Absolutely not. Yeah. We would not have chosen this, but we've chosen the Lord, and we've chosen Him as our just priceless treasure. And if He says, hey guys, I want to lead you this way or lead you that way, that's why we're in the situation that we're in.
Yeah, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's not like we can't get jobs and do all that stuff. It's just He's led us a certain way. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like unconventional. Live like no one else, so that later on you can live like no one else, and all that other stuff that we talked about in our other videos. But it's like, that's where you're coming out of. You're coming out of a mountain experience with God. Even the ark itself came to rest on a mountain. And it just stayed there on this mountain. That's God saying, I'm just going to have you rest in me for a little bit. I'm going to have you just sup with me for a little bit. I want to have you absorb me for a little bit. I want your soul to enter into me. Yeah. You know, and so it goes on to say, the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall perform this. So we're going into a year of 2019 where the zeal of the Lord is going to be seen. His strong, intense, excited desire to see His kingdom come through that vision of fruit bearing that He wants us to have. Whatever it is God's called you to do, that's the fruit you're going to bear. Yeah. Right? And it's going to be different for different people. For us, it's entertainment industry. But it's like through those things, we were literally just talking about this last night. We were. About, man, Michelle, we are literally called to the entertainment industry. And this is why. Yeah. This is why. Because what God has put on our heart is revolutionary. It's just not out there. Yeah. And it should be. Yeah. But it's like, it's not. But it's like it's the zeal of the Lord. It's like the zeal for His Father's house would consume Jesus. And that's why He beat the animals out of the house and overturned the tables. And He was just like, I am very serious about His will being done. And I'm taking seriously to reward those who have shown me that they are also serious. Those who've survived. Those who've made it through the testings. Yeah. Those who have proven that, man, you guys really are serious. Yeah. Those people, He's like, that's the band of survivors that's coming out of my presence. They're going to stay with me in my presence. They're going to carry my zeal like a torch of the Lord, and they're going to go into their land and into their possession, and I am going to perform through them everything that He has in His heart to do. Yeah. And I just feel like that's what 2019 is going to be. There's going to be another year-end establishing, another year-end miracle crossover. There's going to be another year-end fireworks something, and that's going to set you up for the next thing. I tell you what, December 2016, it set us up for 2017. Yeah. December 7th, 2017 set us up to be here. So December 2018, the end of December, or the end of 2018, and it is probably going to be the end of December, but anyway, it's going to set us up to go into this thing that God is speaking to us right now.
Yeah.
We've felt it. Man, we felt it. Like, we haven't shared it much on videos. I think we shared it on one video. But we really feel like it's like it has to happen by the end of this year. Mm-hmm. It has to. Mm-hmm. They're in my spirit. I do not see us still in this lifestyle come 2019. I just don't.
Yeah.
Something is about to transpire. I don't even care what it is and how it's going to happen, but it's going to transpire that's going to get us into our home, get us into our land. Then it's going to set us up to be able to do this very thing that God has been speaking to us today.
Yes.
So just to recap, we feel like God's saying that 2019 is going to be a year where we're going to be able to begin to sow. We're going to be able to be released into the thing that we haven't been released from before. We're going to be able to actually do the vision that God has had us to do. You're going to be able to just perform the thing that God wants you to perform, but it's going to be His zeal through you, His Spirit through you that's going to do it.
Yeah.
And that band of survivors who have allowed God to test them through and through down to the last thread, those are going to be the ones that are going to be the leaders of this new vanguard of this new thing that God's going to be doing. And we're talking, this is a global thing that I feel like God's saying. He's like, I'm going to be doing this all over the place. He did South Africa, Australia, Canada, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kansas City, Missouri, coming at you. But you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. He's gonna that's just what he's gonna be doing.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a fruit bearing. We're gonna be taking even deeper roots in the Lord, but deeper roots in the land that He has caused us to possess, so that we can bear the fruit that gives glory and praise to God. That people see Him. That the religious blinders can be taken off, and people can see. See, that was the problem that the Pharisees had with Jesus, because when Jesus came on the scene, it took all the attention away from the Pharisees.
Yeah.
The Pharisees were like, the people were like, you are just Pharisees. We don't care about you. This Jesus is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's clear He's from God. You know, you guys can say all the stuff you want about Him, but I was leprous, and look at me.
Yeah.
I was blind. Look at me. I can look at you now. You know what I'm saying? And it's the Pharisees couldn't do anything about that, and their whole identity was wrapped up in having no power. And here comes the power of God coming on the scene to demonstrate. So I just feel like that's what God's going to do. He's going to plant us in a place that's going to allow us to then live in a way that fulfills the vision and bears fruit. And we plant vineyards. We plant creative ideas. Those are going to be the vineyards. You know, the God's given me vision for intercession, for art and entertainment industry, for prophetic ministry, healing ministry, all these different things that God gave me way back in 2000. You know what I mean? That I still haven't been able to plant. And God's like, that's what you're getting ready to plant. That's what I mean when planting. Some of these visions you guys have had, maybe you've had them for years.
Yeah.
For a long time. You know? And I don't know who it's going to apply to. That's why you got to take it to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, is there anything from this that you want to say to me?
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, that's just what I feel like God's saying. You know, you're going to bear fruit. You're going to get deeper roots in God.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to cause the fruit bearing, and it is His zeal, His intense, fervent desire to do it that's going to perform it and actually get it done.
Yeah.
Not our ability. Obviously, we have not stayed in Nashville all this time, this whole year, on our own ability. We haven't.
No.
We've just been obedient, and God's like, I'm going to bless you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Yeah. I'm going to provide. If you follow me, you got provision, bro.
Yeah.
If you follow me, listen, God's like, I don't go hungry. So if you're going to be with me, I'm going to give you some of my food, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, we have no food. And Jesus is like, watch this. Bread. Clap on bread. You know? That's how Jesus does it. You didn't know that? Jesus created that clap on thing.
I didn't know that.
That came from the scripture. So inspired by the loaves and the fishes.
Goodness.
You sound like a grandma. Goodness.
Bless your heart.
Anyway, we hope you guys have been blessed by this. And did you want to say anything else?
I just wanted to say, too, that it really is, that it's a time to build. It is a time for God to now build and plant. And so that is really what he's getting ready to do. Mm-hmm. He has been doing all of the tearing down. He has, just like we said, the whole idea of being like the show Fixer Upper or any of those other shows that have like the renovation kind of thing. You go in and you've got to tear things down, but eventually you get to a place where it's like everything that needs to be torn down is torn down. Yep. Now it is time to build up.
Down to the rusty pipes.
That's what we're going into. We're going into a time where it's like God is like, it is time to build. Yep. It is time for me to now take this pristine, beautiful slab of concrete that I have as the foundation of my people, and now I'm going to build them up. And I'm going to create what I want to create in these end times for the people to bring in the harvest, to do everything that I have for them to do. And like you're saying, it's like we all have different calls in different areas that God has placed upon our hearts to believe for and to do.
Some people are called to the political industry.
Yeah. I mean, God is
or
like
the restaurant industry.
He's
or
like,
something,
I am everywhere. Like, don't think that you can only, walking with me means, oh, well, I have to be in ministry or I have to
be in a church doing churchy stuff.
Do this or that.
No.
But there are people who are called to the church. There are people who are called to work in different businesses and industries. And all that matters is it's like if God has placed upon your heart to believe and to go into a specific area, then that's where you need to go and keep pursuing him and keep declare those open doors that you would be able to take hold and be planted and rooted in what he is doing in your life.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say there is no formula.
No.
There is no formula. You were saying, there is no formula of like, oh, I see how they did it, and this person and that person did it. I'm going to do the exact same thing, and then you crash and burn, and you go, what happened? Well, the formula is the only one that Jesus laid out. Go into the secret place, listen to God, then come out in zeal and power, performing that which he placed in you to do when you were in the secret place.
Yeah.
That's the only formula there is. God will not have it any other way but relational.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a list of rules and regulations. God's like, oh, okay, the nation of Israel. Okay, you want the rules and regulations? Here you go. Go ahead, have them. Yeah, you can't obey that stuff, can you?
No.
You can't handle that. You can't do that on your own. You think you're going to take the laws and rules of God and how to be righteous and the fruits of righteousness and you're going to live that out on your own? No. That's literally what our God time was about.
Yeah.
It was like, you're going to live that out on your own? No, you need a Savior. You need me. You need to be in relationship with me. That's why I created you. It's for relationship. Yeah. And so you get with God, and say, Lord, what is it that you have for me? Chances are you already know and have known for years or for a long time. You know what I mean? God has that way by his Spirit within to let us know. He sends out that beacon of revelation and insight and understanding. And the numbers and the billboard signs and all of that stuff is just like Gatorade. It's just like, it's not your main meal. No. It's just like, you see license plates or something like that. But it's like, that's not your main meal. That's not your main communication from God. Your main communication from God is God himself inside of you. Yeah. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ in you, the present tense glory that's speaking to you from heaven. You know what I'm saying? That's your main thing. And then God sends little signs and stuff and all that to just kind of encourage us and be like, yes, see, I'm telling you, So it's like, again, we hope you guys are encouraged by it. Yeah. We were greatly encouraged by it. I did not plan on doing no prophetic word for 2019 type stuff. If you know me at all, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
But that's what God's doing. That's what God's saying. And any other last words?
I don't think so. So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Yeah. Love you guys. See
Bye.
ya.